Oppenheimer had apparently been sympathetic to communist goals and had close friends and family members, long story short, who were party members, but he never officially joined the Communist Party. And at this hearing, many details of Oppenheimer's life, including his personal life, were brought out into the open and dredged up and held up to painful scrutiny. And after the hearing, the board, overseeing the hearings without any real, valid, or substantiating or incriminating evidence, voted 2-1 not to reinstate Oppenheimer's security clearance. Oppenheimer's relationship at that point with the U.S. government was officially over. Fellow Manhattan Project scientist Isidore Rabi said the hearings destroyed him, Oppenheimer. A diplomat friend tried to comfort him by telling him he'd be welcome abroad. And with tears in his eyes, Oppenheimer replied, "Darn it," and he didn't use the word darn, he used another word. "Darn it, I happen to love this country." Sadly, the hearings and Oppenheimer's downfall came to define him in the public eye, according to an article in the Smithsonian Magazine. In an attempt to rehabilitate him, President Lyndon Johnson presented him with the AEC's highest honor, the Enrico Fermi Award, in 1963. But Oppenheimer never fully recovered from the blow to his reputation, and he died of cancer in Princeton, New Jersey, in 1967. And in December 2022, some 55 years later, the U.S. Department of Energy vacated the AEC's, the Atomic Energy Commission's 1954 decision and reinstated Oppenheimer's clearance. In a statement, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm said, among other things, that Oppenheimer occupies a central role in our history for leading the nation's atomic efforts during World War II. And that as time has passed, more evidence has come to light of the bias and unfairness of the process that Dr. Oppenheimer was subjected to, while the evidence of his loyalty and love of country, has only been further affirmed. It's an historical event that you can certainly read about, but without giving away too much of the film, emotions and fear and anxiety and hatred and perhaps even jealousy and perhaps ignorance clouded people's judgments and allowed them to ignore the truth and to persecute Oppenheimer and to judge him unfairly. The Oppenheimer story is a mixed one because it's a story, I would submit, of great achievement and victory, to be sure, but also a story of great sadness and tragedy on multiple levels. Oppenheimer has something in common with those other historical figures, famous and accomplished and distinguished people I recited earlier. In that sense, he's in good company. Like them, he was also badly and unfairly misjudged. It's perhaps an extreme example, but it's a cautionary tale and a reminder that, among other things, when people let their emotions and their prejudices cloud their judgment and block out the truth, they can judge other people unfairly. And the results can sometimes be tragic. Paul says we should first remember who we are serving. We're all ultimately accountable only to God. God is our judge, our only judge. It's not for us to pass judgment on others. Only God has the right to judge. We should listen to and accept and respect others' views and opinions and handle our disagreements with understanding and patience and compassion and love. And when we do this, we will have healthier and stronger relationships with each other and with God. How are we living now? We should remember Paul's words and live in the sure knowledge, the certainty that God has forgiven us and given us new life in Jesus Christ. And knowing this, we must live it. We must live our lives secure in that knowledge, not unfairly judging one another, but respecting and loving one another, knowing also that God is the final judge. Thanks be to God.